what it do, what it is, all that. Hi, how are you? It's been I guess a couple weeks since I streamed. I didn't not want to stream last week, but it was actually my spring break. Like, I would have fucking loved to have streamed, actually. But I couldn't do it because I had, like, this looks loud. There. I, like, bit the fuck out of my cheek, like, I don't know, Sunday or Monday last week while I was sleeping, and that injury became the canker sore from hell that basically ruined my spring break, which is, like, God, I feel like such a fucking wuss saying that, but, like, it was keeping me from talking and eating and being able to focus on anything. And holy shit, yeah, I am honestly in awe of how miserable I was. But shit is gone. There's seriously fucking scar tissue on the inside of my cheek from where this thing was. It was not playing around at all. Yeah, exactly, Xandric. I kept, like, it was, like, swollen, so that made me more likely to bite it. And I was keeping these, like, canker sore patches on there that, like, dissolve into this, like, gel lump that covers it, which is, like, cool. It keeps it from, you know, hurting so much and being, like, repeatedly re-injured by the movement of my mouth or otherwise, but yeah, it also makes it more likely that I'm gonna fucking bite it and make it more swollen. And God, okay, yeah, I'm so happy that that's over. For fuck's sake. I only have, like, one memory of another like, canker sore like that made me that miserable for that long. It was in high school. I bit the inside of my bottom lip, so I had a massive canker sore right there, and it was keeping me from doing basically anything. Like, when it's like at your fucking tooth line, you basically can't fucking do anything without hitting it, and it's just, oh my god. What a fucking dumb thing to be just totally laid out by. Like, holy shit. That was a humbling experience. Fucking Christ. So, yeah, I had a spring break. It was not awesome, to be honest, but it's fine. Let's see, don't I? Yeah. Okay, so, I wanted to show y'all something real quick before I get started with, Zelda. We're starting a new game tonight, by the way. Link to the Past. I'm slowly but surely working my way through all the 2D Zeldas that I never played when I was younger. Up until the point I began my stream, I had only ever played 3D Zeldas. And, yeah, that's kind of appalling as someone who considers that, like, their favorite gaming franchise. So, yeah. So yeah, I have never played Link to the Past. A lot of people tout it as, like, the first true Zelda, and I'm really looking forward to it. The last Zelda I played was Link's Awakening. I streamed that, and that was pretty rough in spots, but I got through it. But yeah, there were definitely things about Link's Awakening that didn't feel like quite a real Zelda. In the way that, like, Minish Cap did, for example. So, yeah. That's what's up. I'm here to be that, Xandric, for sure. I'm here to allow people to live vicariously through, you know, people enjoying Zelda games for the first time. Especially someone who already loves Zelda. Like, I know I'm gonna love this. There's no, you know, fucking mystery to this. Like, I know I'm gonna fucking love it so much. So I'm nothing but excited for it. Okay, so I wanted to show you something that I did last week. Me and Alex, we had been talking about making this, extraordinarily complicated sauce, called a black mole. A Oaxacan black mole, specifically. This is the legendary thing that it is. And there's a lot of different sorts of moles, but black mole is the most complex of all of them, and it has about 30 ingredients in it. Here, I think this is, yeah. So this is this is actually not even everything, but this is most of what go into it. Here, it's a lot of dried chilies, like several different kinds of dried chilies. That's a plantain, garlic, onion, a few different herbs and spices, a few different kinds of nuts, some, seeds, some tomatillos, a tomato, a piece of bread, just like a piece of fucking, what was that, like brioche? Yeah. And yeah, some of the stuff not pictured here would be like, salt, pepper, lard. Like, there were a ton of other things. So yeah. I'm glad Alex was along for the ride for me, like, arranging this fucking Food Network ingredient shot, because I so seldom make anything this fucking complicated that I wanted to commemorate it. And I'm like, yeah, looks great. Yes, the Gothamole! You called it Gothamole, and now I can't call it anything else. It's Gothamole. It's Gothamole. Why call it black mole when you can call it Gothamole? It's so much better. So, it is Gothamole, as I mentioned. It's a black mole. It looks like this when it's done. You can kind of see, there's a blue light on one side of it, but the other side gives a more accurate, idea of the color. Why can't I click on you? Okay, there we go. So yeah, it ends up very, very dark. It's not actually black. It's like really, really dark reddish brown. And that's mostly derived from all the peppers. And yeah, it was incredible. It was really, really good. I've still got some in the fridge, actually. I need to use the rest of it here in the next few days. I made mole chicken tacos with it. I've been like dipping shit in it. It's a good time, man. It's a really good time. It was a good time making it too. We just got we were drinking wine and listening to like Spanish language hip hop and a few other genres, and spent about 4 hours making this fucking thing. And yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much fun, seriously. A night I will remember, certainly. And yeah, it was very, very tasty. Yeah, no, for real, Urchak. There are people that freak out at like a savory chocolate sauce, but I'm telling you, I can't even describe what this tastes like. It's so complicated, but it is so much more than a chocolate sauce. There's definitely chocolate in there, and you can taste it, but it's I don't know how to describe it. It's so complex. Like you taste just a million different things. I would say that the chocolate is maybe like a prominent note, and so are the peppers. There's also like a prominent like nutty quality, and I don't know. It's great. Urchak, have you ever made this shit before, or had it when somebody else made it? It's a pretty massive pain in the ass, but I was very, very happy with how it turned out. This is a sauce that I had wanted to make since I saw, there's a chef named Rick Bayless who makes Mexican food, and he was on like Top Chef Masters or something like that, where there were a bunch of famous chefs and they were all competing for this title, and they were gonna the winner was gonna get like $250,000 or something donated to the charity of their choice. And so anyway, Rick Bayless made this fucking 30 ingredient Oaxacan black mole and it like won him like the final competition and ultimately like the show. It was this thing that did it. And yeah, ever since then I've wanted to try it. I've never seen anything that looks like this. The judges were struggling to describe what it tasted like, and I'm just like, man, yeah, one day. And yeah, me and Alex have been talking about making this for like fucking like a couple years at this point. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Alex, there's so many fucking things in it that every like single thing almost for the most part gets lost, and it just becomes like part of a greater whole. It's not really one thing anymore. It's everything. Like for example, there was an ingredient in there, avocado leaves, that we ended up getting at like a Mexican grocery store, like right before we started cooking it. And these things taste like almost nothing. Like they're just like a vaguely vegetable-y kind of flavor. Not much to be said texture-wise. It's just like a crumbly, dried leaf, and you only use like a couple of them or something like that. The point being, like, these avocado leaves, this one ingredient, was such a fucking drop in the bucket. It was even like listed as optional on the recipe that we used, but we were intent on doing this correctly, and god damn it, we had avocado leaves in that bitch. So like, I told Alex it's for the avocado leaves are for bragging rights. That's for to demonstrate that we took this very seriously, went hard. Yeah, that was the point. I mean, if you live in fucking California, you probably got mole for days out there. Yep. Man, Alex, I'm not over how great that fucking Mexican grocery store near your house is. Like, fuck. Like, for real. They had everything. They had, like, every pepper that we needed. And, like, fucking, like, produce I'd never even seen before. And fucking the fucking J.O. crystals. They're not. They're called alum stones. Didn't we look it up and they had some kind of like medical purpose or something like that? That was just the first thing I said when I saw them. Look, they got J.O. crystals. Yeah, that place, it was a fucking apothecary, man. When you got to that spice aisle, holy shit. Holy shit. Were they charged? I couldn't tell. And I'm admittedly not an expert, so. Alright. Let's play game. I'm very excited. Very excited to Zelda. No idea where the volume needs to be, but I suppose we'll figure that out. Okay, I'm gonna try and soft reset this so it looks exactly like it would look if you were turning it on yourself. I'm gonna try. I might be a little high to pull this off. Hold on. I'm gonna do it. It was close. Got close. Let me know what the volume is. It looks good to me, but who fucking knows? Yeah, man, there's so many different sorts of moles, and they taste very different depending on what's in there. Long ago, in the beautiful kingdom of Hyrule, surrounded by mountains and forests, legends told of an omnipotent and omniscient golden power that resided in a hidden land. Many people aggressively sought to enter the hidden golden land. But no one ever returned. One day, evil power began to flow from the golden land. So the king commanded 7 wise men to seal the gate to the land of the golden power. That seal should have remained for all time. Should being the operative word, I'm guessing. But when these events were obscured by the mists of time and became legend, a mysterious wizard known as Aghanim came to Hyrule to release the seal. He eliminated the good king of Hyrule. Aghanim. Aghanim? Is there a right way to say this? Through evil magic, he began to make descendants of the 7 wise men vanish, one after another. I think Aghanim sounds pretty standard. I feel like saying it any other way would really be like kind of unnatural. And the time of destiny for Princess Zelda is drawing near. Aghanim. Okay. Yay! Oh, the music makes me so fucking happy. Oh, that was like I was testing. TNN? I'm pretty sure I was hitting random letters there. TNN. That's not even an acronym for anything that I know of. I'm sure someone's using it, but... Oh my god, the fairy music. I guess it's also the start screen music, but... It's hard not to think of fairy. It's so good! Alright. Gonna be a Link named Lady. Now, are all the names capitalized? Is it gonna look out of place if I have like an uppercase letter and well, it looked like the names weren't all in uppercase in the cutscene anyway. So I'm gonna roll the dice with this. Hopefully it won't be out of place. Lady.
Help me. Please, help me. I'm a prisoner in the dungeon of the castle. My name is Zelda. The wizard, Aghanim, has done something to the other missing girls. Now only I remain. Aghanim has seized control of the castle and is now trying to open the 7 wise men's seal. I am in the dungeon of the castle. Please help me.
Lady, I'm going out for a while. I'll be back by morning. Don't leave the house. Who this dude? That is a fierce mustache. I think this is just an SNES game. It looks a little fancy for regular Game Boy. Y'all seeing this right, by the way? Let me check. Okay. This looks good. Y'all aren't complaining about the volume of the music, so I'm going to assume it's okay. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, so that's on my Y. I think I bound all my shit right, so that should be good to go. And A is this action button. And I guess eventually I'll get more shit, but I can't use the torch until I get magic. And I don't have... Okay, so that's the map. I got nothing on B. Oh, I didn't see that Urchak had asked if this was Game Boy or SNES. Yeah, this is SNES, to my knowledge. That's how I'm playing it anyway. On an actual Super Nintendo.
Help me, I'm in the dungeon of the castle. I know there's a hidden path from outside of the castle to the garden inside.
I actually do have a Super Nintendo, but I don't have this particular game. So I don't really have any exciting fucking spring break stories. I didn't do anything. I suffered. In the most boring way imaginable. But I got some reading done, that was good. I talked to some people I hadn't talked to in a while, that was good. Like, I talked to Lydia. I hadn't talked to her in fucking months, maybe better part of a year. She's fucking great. She's one of those people that when I started this conversation with her, I started it by saying that I had talked about her on the stream the other night, and that she's a magnetic and wonderful person, and I felt very privileged to know her, and I basically just like positivity bombed her like right off the bat, and she was just so grateful for it and happy about it, and yeah. That's like a pretty massive difference in how I communicate with my male and female friends. Like, you can't do that to boys. They'll think you're either like hitting on them or like you're dying or something's wrong. Like, you just can't do that. But yeah, Lydia is a very feminine in a lot of ways, and she understood. So, oh shit, that was just dumb luck. Yeah. Actually, I can usually tell if a dude has really never had a close female friend if they can't even perceive, like, vulnerability and positivity and affection like that in a platonic way. Like, if they like, can't even do that. It's like, you probably have never actually been close with a woman, have you? In a friendship way. That's, you know... It's just a little different like that. It's something to be mindful of. I don't think there's anything else to... Like, that's probably where I need to go. I'm catching up on chat here. Hello, son. Welcome. Yeah, it would be nice to... Oh wait, no, they are remaking Link's Awakening, right? That's a thing that's happening. I don't know if I love the art style, if I remember correctly. It's a little too, like... I would have appreciated if they, like, preserved some of the original art of the game, rather than, like, redoing it all 3D-like. Yeah, Xandric, thank you. I wish more dudes were capable of that, but the fact is, I've spoken to a lot of men in my life that basically don't know how to talk to women they're attracted to unless they're flirting with them. And that's kind of sad. I've met women who were the same way with guys that they were attracted to, but it's honestly a lot more rare. Because women are kind of forced to do this. Like, we have to treat men like people. And, like, platonic... You know, have platonic relationships with them because, like, they're often, you know, like, we need them in a career sense or a life sense or, you know, basically you can't get away with it, so. Anyway, so yeah, I talked to some folks that I hadn't talked to in a while. Talked to my mom, that was interesting. My mom's alright. Oh shit.
Lady, I didn't want to involve you in this, but I told you not to leave the house. I take my sword and shield, and listen, you can focus power in the blade. then release it using the secret technique handed down by our people. Lady, you can do it! Save the princess! Zelda is your...
Zelda's my what? Zelda's my what? No! Or just need them to not rip you in half. Semi-serious comment. You're not wrong, thank you. Yeah, exactly. Women have to learn how to treat men in a platonic manner, because otherwise they might either, like, harm us or misconstrue us or yada yada, and frankly they do that anyway. Constantly. A lot of you are very, very well-mannered, and I don't mean to, you know, don't at me with your not all men bullshit. It's just, I'm at liberty to complain about patterns that I experience in my life. I didn't realize I could pick these up, so that's cool. Sorry. I hadn't thought about the phrase tree fitty in a long time. Thank you. You notice something was different immediately when I started to work with the all-female forge in Christiania. First of all, are you a blacksmith? Because I'm pretty sure I didn't know that. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that's dope, and actually just completely consistent with who I understand you to be as a person. And I'm not shocked, but I am happy. You're retired, but yes, you were. I see. Well, I mean, come to think of it, I never spoke to you in too much detail about what you've done throughout your life as a career. I have like a couple of vague memories, but I don't know how accurate they are. Wait, do I need to fucking... Because you might have been talking about either people you knew or jobs that you had very temporarily. I'm trying to figure out how to equip things. I'm sorry, I'm like rambling. Oh wait, I already have this shit equipped. That's not something... How do I shield? Does the shield just automatically shield? Do I not have to block? Yeah, I know that. So that's sword. I think the shield might auto-block? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I tend not to bring up what I do for a living either, unless it's, like, directly relevant. That's actually something I've noticed about speaking to people from Europe generally, is that they're not likely to, like, ask you, so what do you do for a living? That's, like, more of an American question. It's kind of interesting. Oh, shit. What? That was the wrong button! Damn, I only have 3 hearts. I need to fucking watch my ass. Hey, magic power. That's actually a decent segue into what I was supposed to be talking about tonight, so I'll just do that. So, we had been speaking about the basics of moral psychology last stream. We basically just went over, like, the role of intuition in thinking, how prominent of a thing that is in your thinking, and how, you're not as rational as you would like to think. Okay, I lit it. But that does not seem to have helped me. Oh yeah, you were fucking in the middle of a story, my bad. Let me finish that before I carry on with the moral psych shit. On the topic, a mate of mine noticed the Museum of War here in Copenhagen recently put a picture on their webpage that included the sword that earned me my master's diploma. That's fucking cool. Yeah, please. I want to see. Also, you were talking about, the differences between the all-female forge that you started to work at and other places. I think you may have implied what the difference was, but I just wanted to hear it in your own words. Yeah, it's not, I'm not saying that, like, everyone's just dumb and irrational all the time. I'm just saying that a lot of irrational stuff goes into your rational thinking. Like, there are a lot of ways to rationalize shit that you think, and not all of them make equal amounts of sense, you know? Shit. And, yeah, I just, like, a lot of people will say, like, oh, that person's completely irrational, or this group of people is completely irrational, and it's like, you know, that can be true, but also, you're probably pretty irrational yourself, and, you know, you'd make a lot more sense probably to yourself and the people around you if you knew it was driving your, like, core values, which is what I'm going to talk about tonight. Basically, the difference that you were talking about between the all-female forge and the not all-female forge, the difference was basically that they weren't all worried about getting an unintended reaction from us guys. Oh my gosh. I don't even know, like, you just blew my mind just now. Like, the thought that I could exist in any space with, like, a lot of other people and not have to worry about, like, women can't even eat bananas in public. Like, dudes are just assholes. They stare, they misconstrue you, they think everything you're doing is somehow for them in some way, and it's just totally fucked. Urchat. Testosterone poisoning. Oh my god. Yeah. Again, hashtag not all men, whatever. I'm at liberty to bitch about patterns, okay? Yeah. You're gonna catcall the next guy you see eating a banana in public. There's part of me that knows that's not right, but there's another part of me that thinks that's hilarious and would encourage you to do it. I think I'm supposed to go this way, so that's what I'm gonna do. Or a peach. That was a high-class genital joke, Urchak, thank you. Damn it. Die, you. So, oh yeah, no, that's what you said there about wiser people realizing that they truly know nothing. That's, yeah. I mean, you gotta know something, but like, I swear, I just interact with people all the time who think they are at liberty to have really strong opinions about absolutely everything. And it's like, holy shit, you just don't know enough to have really strong opinions about absolutely everything. Like, if I'm not talking about a particular area of my expertise, I am usually not talking with a whole lot of fucking, like, certainty in my language. You know, granted, shit, fuck you, man. Like, I do know a little bit about a lot of stuff, admittedly, but, oh, the beeping is gonna drive me fucking crazy. Let me see if I can go slice some bushes or something. I believe in the concept of staying in your lane, which is, I've noticed a phrase that gets kind of eye-rolled with some people, but I appreciate it as a phrase, even if it is sometimes misused, because it's a, it's a moral statement regarding authority, which is one of these moral foundations that I'm going to talk about. It's as good a place to start as any, so let's just do that, actually. So, authority is a moral foundation, like, as in it's like a piece of everyone's morality, in a sense, because I already have 3 hearts. Because, to some extent, being obedient to and respectful of legitimate authority is a moral issue. You know, like, you know, if you're in a class, for example, people don't just fucking like talk over the professor and, you know, treat them like they're not running the show, because they are, and it's just understood that that power dynamic exists, and at least while y'all are in that classroom, you don't talk over the professor. That's an understood thing, and if you were to do that, people around you would perceive that to be not only, like, rude and distasteful, but also on some level wrong. And so that's where that comes from. Like, authority is a moral foundation. It's the notion that when you're disrespectful or disobedient to authority that people regard as legitimate, that's wrong. Like, it's something you shouldn't do. Oh, you got the fucking picture? Hold up. Oh, that's fucking cool. Hold on, I want to put this on the screen. This is fucking cool. Well, can I do that? Is that gonna bother you? You just put it in chat, so I figure not. I'm gonna do it. Excuse me. So you made... You said you made the sword? This, which one? Or all of them? This is so cool. I love when D&D nerds, like, really show up and do shit like this. Like, y'all nerds out here making chainmail and actual swords and shit. Too fucking cool, man. The one in the middle display case. This, like... This guy here, the curvedy one. Man, this is cool. Are these, like, actual military uniforms? Or, like, replicas of them or something? Man, fucking military uniforms are so badass looking, like the older ones. Camo's boring, but, like, this fucking, like, pomp and circumstance, ridiculous regalia shit, I love that stuff. I mean, granted, every military still does that for people who aren't, like, in the field, you know? And it's just, it all looks so cool. I think it's really neat. I don't know if it's just, like, because my parents were Marines and I married into a military family and I just kind of, I'm around it, but that's so fucking cool. It was commissioned by the War Museum. Okay, and you submitted your master's work project and got a diploma based on it. That's so fucking cool, dude. They're replicas, but they're very real. Gotcha, gotcha. That's so fucking cool, man. Oh, it's so fucking cool. Thank you. I appreciate you showing us that. That's so badass. My chat is so cool. 18th century Danish military. Dope. Yeah, man. I think those fancy military uniforms are just too fun. It's a neat look. I've got this jacket. Oh shit. I didn't mean to hit that button. How do I out of this? I have a jacket. I call it my Emily Haynes jacket because it's very similar to shit she often wears, both on and off stage. It's like, it's black, and it's got buttons in places that make it seem kind of like, I don't know, it's like somewhere between military and like circus ringleader-y, and then it's got this like extra zipper around the middle that gives it this like punk vibe, and it's just the coolest fucking jacket, and I love it so much. And it doesn't go with almost anything else in my entire fucking aesthetic, so I have to like basically plan outfits around this thing. And it's just so not what I wear normally. I'm not really like a black and zippers kind of girl most of the time. I do a lot of like earth tones and colors and, you know, generally speaking, that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I had a goth phase, but I haven't worn a lot of black since then. I'm a bit pale for it. It's a stark look on me, for sure. But yeah, like the shit with the shoulders and all the buttons and the tassels and shit, I think that stuff looks awesome. Like, I think it's really fucking cool. Oh, Urchak, I was talking to you the other day about, now this is gonna have to be a separate fucking stream here. God damn it, what button do I keep pressing that keeps happening? Alright, okay, so don't press that one. Okay. Innuendo Studios put out a very interesting video here a few days ago in his Alright Playbook series, which is definitely worth watching for honestly anyone. It's really, really informative and interesting. He is definitely presenting some opinions in it, but he's very level-headed in doing that. He's very obviously on the left, but it's and I would say yes, he is biased, but it's not such that I think he is totally blind to the redeeming qualities of the other side, or it doesn't understand conservatives at all. In fact, he understands them basically just enough to get himself in trouble, which is often the case for people on the left, I've noticed. And without getting into too much detail on this, because like social dominance and authority should be its own separate stream, I'm just trying to talk about it in the context of these moral foundations. Basically, man. I'm gonna think about how to phrase this for about 10 seconds, and if I can't do it, I'm gonna stop. Okay, so I'm saying that power dynamics, in particular like unequal power dynamics, are necessary for human cooperation and group cohesion. And that fact is what draws conservatives into it. And what makes them, actually, when you test people on these moral foundations that I was just talking about, conservatives value authority more as a moral foundation. So they consider it like more wrong if you are disrespectful toward or disobey authority. And yeah, it's related to social order. It's related to the like mechanics behaviorally of cooperation and how it works. And I'm gonna leave it alone for the moment, because I actually really do need to write about this before I talk about it, because it's touchy, and I don't want to say anything dumb. So, and that'll happen if I just rattle off about some shit that I haven't entirely processed yet. So I don't want to do that. Did that make sense in some way, particularly to you, Urchak? The pros, cons, and typical motivation of people who try to behave like the authority of the situation, basically no matter the situation. Well, the pros to it, damn it. the pros of that are the maintenance of social order. Generally speaking, if you're not upsetting power hierarchies, you're not, you know, sowing societal chaos in a general sense. Now, obviously, I'm on the left. I think that it's necessary and even right and good to upset power dynamics that ought not be that way. However, I'm not a revolutionary in any meaningful sense, and I don't want to burn it all down and start over. And so if you're trying to make gradual changes to a particular power hierarchy, whatever it may be, you need to be a little more graceful about it. You get where I'm coming from? Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's not something I understood in a really in-depth way until I started studying this stuff over the last 5 years. I remember saying to Urchak on Twitter, like, I had some intuitive sense of all this because I was raised, like I said, like, both my parents were Marines, my husband was in the military, his father was in the military. I've been around military my entire life. And, you have a sense of why authority structures are important just by virtue of interacting with people who have been through that training. It's battle tested. Like, there's a reason that people do that. It's not just because of, you know, some irrational impulse to preserve the hierarchy. They do it because it works. And, you know, as I mentioned, not all, in the military, it's sort of a special game where you have these distinct ranks and people are all, generally speaking, on the same page and on the same team and trying to accomplish the same goals. Obviously, that is not how real life works in most circumstances, but we're talking about, like, an extreme example of human cooperation. And it requires not only hierarchy, but strict rankings in order to function like that. And I think that should be meaningful to us. And I think it's something that the left, in particular, does not understand very well. Innuendo Studios was the closest I'd ever seen anyone come on the far left to actually understanding this and saying it correctly. As I mentioned, he kind of figured it out just far enough to get himself in trouble, and I honestly hope he doesn't get too much harassment over this video, but as many far left content creators on YouTube have said, white guys just don't get it that bad, so he'll probably be fine. Anyway, so yeah, that's actually maybe a good period on an introduction to authority, because I don't want to get into it too much. I should go over what all of these moral foundations are. The thing I'm talking about here is called the moral foundations theory. You can Google it if you like. I'm pretty sure it's a Wikipedia page. Anyway, it's a theory that Jon Haidt and I want to say Richard Schwader, and a few other people. Yeah, that's right. Jesse Graham helped him out with this too when he was his graduate student, Jon Haidt's graduate student. Pete Ditto, I think, as well. Anyway, so they went forth and you know, went through like anthropology literature and psychology literature and looked across cultures to see like what the like landscape of human morality looked like. Like, if you were to break it down into parts, like an audio tuner, like if you were to break it down into like treble and bass and, you know, percussion and all of these things, what would that look like? What would be the different, here's the metaphor he uses actually. What are the tastes of human morality? So like, what do the morality taste buds look like? What are the things that separate out into like sweet, salty, you know, that kind of stuff? And in doing that, they came up with 5, now 6 things. The 6th one is kind of at this point still sort of poorly understood relative to the other ones, so I'm gonna leave it alone for the most part. But the 5 original ones are authority, the opposite of that being, excuse me, subversion, care and harm. So, like, how much you care if you or other people are being harmed or cared for. Fairness and cheating, which, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory, but it boils down to, like, proportionality and whether people are getting their fair share, whether people are, you know, working to get what they earn in life. You know, we talked about meritocracy last time I streamed. That's a big part of fairness and cheating. Generally speaking, everybody values those two that I just mentioned, that care-harm foundation and that fairness-cheating foundation. Everybody understands that and regards that as important. What's a fair share, though? Yeah, that's obviously a very subjective question. As I mentioned, I'm on the left, so I have my own opinions about that. But, I recognize that I am not absolutely right about everything, and neither is everyone else who agrees with me. There are a lot of correct answers to the questions that I have in life. So, those two foundations, care and fairness, like I said, everybody kind of understands those. These other three are foundations that, people on the left have trouble understanding. Hey! Cool. Care is sweet and fairness is salty. I like that. I'm gonna be very preoccupied until I can get the beeping to stop. I'll just list off the other foundations. It shouldn't take too much effort. The other three foundations of the originals are loyalty, the opposite of which is betrayal, authority, which I went over, and purity or sanctity. The opposite of that is degradation or corruption. Man, fuck you! Fuck you! Ah! Oh, damn. Do I still have the boomerang? Okay. I didn't know how heartbreaking that was gonna be. I don't know where I was, though, so that's gonna be fun to find again. I think savory for purity is good. Oh, then you like salty for fairness because people get salty when life's unfair. Alex, this is low-key genius you got going on here. Is that not the summary of you? Real talk. No, for real, I love this. Like, I doubt that Jon Haidt went to the trouble of, of like, actually assigning different flavors to the moral foundations. I think you can do that, honestly. You've thought the fuck out of this since reading that book. Man, I need to read it again. It's gonna blow my mind reading it again. I'm telling you, after everything else I've learned at this point, it's gonna be like a completely different experience. Please just die. Can you die? You cunt? Man, 3 hearts is the worst. For real. So, So, care, harm, and fairness cheating are pretty... people, generally speaking, have a good intuitive understanding of what those are about, especially if you're on the left, because we tend to value those more. So I'll not go into too much detail. The evolutionary origins, roughly speaking, of the Care Harm Foundation are in the protection of children. So, animals or people that have more, like, adorable, childlike qualities will tend to elicit more of this response from people than people and animals who do not. So, and this contributes to things like the halo effect, which is when people, like, attribute, virtue or competence to people just because they're attractive. But it's more like, you know how, like, the thought of a puppy being harmed is, like, the worst thing in the entire world? That's the Care Harm Foundation. I'll give an example like that for every one of these so you can understand viscerally what I'm talking about. Basically, yeah, the thought of a puppy being harmed is violating your Care Harm Foundation, and that is why it offends you. And again, these are all intuitive things, that's why I started with that, because that's where this is coming from. It's coming from your elephant, like your gut. So the extent to which a culture values any one of these foundations more than others is culturally dependent. But the people who came up with this theory, like Richard Schwader in particular, he's an anthropologist, they looked across cultures to find the commonalities between everyone and tried to boil that down into these like taste buds, essentially. So you can arrive roughly at any group or culture's what Jon Haidt calls a moral matrix by dialing up or dialing down any one of those moral foundations that I talked about. And they'll also have different manifestations of these things. So, like, you know, some cultures, for example, are have like special rules about food that are related to religion, or special rules about, you know, sacred places and things that you have to do before you can enter particular areas. They'll have rules about, like, menstruation and women and what we're allowed to do and not do in order to remain pure or purify ourselves around this bodily event, you know, things like that. That's all purity, sanctity stuff. Even if it's like relate, you know, it all seems like a lot of different examples, but it all boils down to, you know, sacredness and purity and maintaining that, and being repulsed by it when you fuck it up somehow, depending on which culture you're coming from. Yeah, right hand is for eating, left hand is for shitting. Yeah, you can often trace, like, interesting cultural habits back to, like, very practical reasons that people did or did not do something. Like, for example, the reason you didn't shake your hand, or anybody's hand, with your left hand back in the day was because that was the hand you wiped your ass with. So, like, that would be considered offended if you offered someone's left hand, or offered your left hand to someone for a handshake, because that's the hand that you wipe your ass with. Obviously, people don't wipe their hands with their asses anymore, so this is not as much of a practical concern, but because these things, you know, evolve and co-evolve with things like genetics and other things over time, you develop these, you know, deeply ingrained cultural habits that people don't even understand where they came from anymore. They just do it anyway, and they know that they feel wrong when they don't, you know? Does the theory / hypothesis suggest the value that promotes stuff to such norms? I mean, yeah, it's like what I just said. It usually there was some, like, absolutely, totally reasonable, like, practical purpose for the particular cultural traits at some point. I'm trying to think of another one. Oh shit. I didn't really mean to do that. That's fine. I would normally be a little bit more on this. I can't think of any off the top of my head now. Yeah, I'm blanking. I'm sorry. Maybe should have had some readily available examples. I'll try to think of some as I continue here. Well, like for example, a lot of there's just like a really broad example. Oh, fuck you. I'm gonna die. Fuck! I am calm. I am fine. So, for example, a lot of, religions make a big thing out of sex. It's easy to, like, sit back on your throne of modern wisdom and think, oh, those silly Puritans, why would anybody ever make such a big deal out of sex? How silly. But the thing is, like, birth control is an extraordinarily modern invention. And used to be every time you had sex, that was potentially a life-changing decision you were making. You might get pregnant or get someone pregnant and potentially very seriously change, if not ruin, both of your lives if you were not careful about it. So given that, it makes a lot more sense that people would, have a big goddamn to-do about sex. In addition to it, certainly being more of a social construct and a bigger deal for humans than it is other animals for a number of, social reasons and cultural reasons, sex is a big deal. In no small part thanks to religion, but regardless, the point I'm trying to make is, making a big deal of sex used to be something that people had to do in order to not, irrevocably fuck up their lives. You get what I mean? So, yeah, like I said, it's easy to sit back on your throne of condoms and hormonal contraceptives and be like, why would anybody make a big deal about sex? It's just fun, derp 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 derp. Like, yeah, sex isn't fun because it's, it evolved to be that fun because it's what perpetuates the species. It's not that fun by accident. So... It's not shocking that we evolved, some kind of cultural regulation, even as extreme as religion, in order to get people in check on that shit. Yeah. And I feel like I've talked about the purity sanctity stuff enough. The biggest thing to remember about it is that it's kind of the biggest. It's got a lot more visceralness to it than the other ones. Disgust is deeply tied with that moral foundation, and a lot of moral feelings that people experience are tied to disgust as an emotion, particularly some of the more really harmful ones. And it's such that you can, one of my favorite studies that I read, I think it was last year, was that they gave folks ginger capsules, and it reduced their disgust responses to morally disgusting things. So not disgust responses to things that would actually make you nauseous, rotting meat or gore or something like that, but rather it decreased disgust responses to things that were morally disgusting, as well as things that were just regular disgusting. So that's how gut this is. It's literally in your gut, to the point where you can be given antiemetic drugs that reduce symptoms of nausea. Oh, there's Zelda. I was so close. I was so close when this asshole killed me. That you can actually physically repress disgust symptoms and people will feel differently morally than they did before, which I think is just so fucking cool. Honestly. I often say that it all comes back to your brain meat, but, like, studies like that, demonstrate it to me more than anything. Shit. It's your gut, man. It's your fucking gut. It's that elephant driving your dumb ass around. Would you die? Oh my god, how many hits? How many hits? Jesus. Jesus. Oh, and the hand sanitizer, that's another good one. Can you remind me exactly how that went? Because believe it or not, there's actually a couple studies about this. There was one where they just had, like, wasn't it just the sight of the hand sanitizer? Like, they didn't even have people using it? And, like, that made people more sensitive to disgust stuff? It's so, like, it's all up in your mental mind, man. Like, it's fucking... Yeah, that was the one? Yeah, dude. It's really crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah, just seeing hand sanitizer around the time that they took the questionnaire noticeably, like, measurably changed people's disgust responses. That's so fucking crazy. And yeah, that feeds into what I was saying last stream about, like, we're not fucking irrational. We are enormously susceptible to various and sundry influences that we, at this point in history, very poorly understand. So, it's important to keep an open mind about this stuff and be understanding about where the other people are coming from, because odds are they're experiencing feelings that you're not experiencing, and that's what's causing them to feel and believe the things that they do. So, yeah. I got a big key. I'm assuming this is going to enable me to open Zelda's cell here.
Thank you, lady. I had a feeling you were getting close. Lady, listen carefully. The wizard is magically controlling all the soldiers in the castle. I fear the worst for my father. The wizard is an inhuman fiend with strong magical powers. Do you understand?
Yes.
Alright, let's get out of here before the wizard notices. I know a secret path, but first, we have to go to the first floor. Let's go.
Money! Cool. I'm not really sure where the first floor is, but I can just keep going upstairs. So, what haven't I talked about yet? Oh, loyalty. That's one that tends to slip past lefties a lot. The idea that it is wrong to be disloyal to a particular group of which you consider yourself a member. People have strange ideas about loyalty sometimes, to the point that it's sort of difficult to discuss it. I'll try to think of an example. Well, I mean, I guess it's easiest to frame this in terms of where it came from. Originally, loyalty kind of developed as a concept, as like a behavioral way to manifest, like, protection of your own kin. So, like, people in your family that were, likely in your band or tribe of people, you were loyal to them, you kind of favored them over members of, like, an out-group, for example, people who weren't in your group, as a means of keeping your group at more of an advantage than other groups. So loyalty is essentially the concept of you favoring some people over other people because of some history you have with them. That can also apply to, like, different, like, you can be loyal to a particular, like, company or a particular organization or a particular idea even. But it developed in an evolutionary sense to, like I said, to serve as a protection mechanism for the people around you that more than likely at the time shared your genetics, although that the interesting thing about all of these moral foundations and humans generally is that we're able to form groups that, like, evolved to form around our own, like, kin groups. We can do that now without any of that. Without any genetic relation. We can do this along, like, cultural and moral lines. And we're the only animals capable of doing that. In any, like, large-scale, meaningful capacity, I should say. Like, other animals can... Wow! Holy shit! Fucking... Are you serious? Fuck off! So yeah, I think everybody on some intuitive level understands loyalty, you know, the opposite of which being betrayal. Everybody at some point has experienced the feeling of betrayal one way or another. So yeah, I guess it's easy to understand in, like, a romantic sense too. If you're in a monogamous relationship and your partner cheats on you, then, you know, that's a betrayal. You had loyalty, they did not, and you are offended by that. Rightly so. There's a secret passage in the throne room that leads to the sanctuary. I'm sure the old man will help us there. Or old man there, rather, will help us. Throne room? I don't know where the throne room is. I think it's maybe up here. Maybe not. Fuck you! Go, girl! Ooh. Great. I really have to kill this asshole again. He's gonna kill me. He's gonna just... Uh-huh. So, the other... Just go. Just fucking run. The other moral foundation that's not been studied enough for me to comfortably really talk about it yet is, liberty. The opposite of which being oppression. That's a very, very loosey-goosey fucking, concept, obviously. Freedom. The folks that value freedom the most are the libertarians, who I have mentioned recently on the stream, have not been studied well enough to be able to contextualize on the left-right spectrum, and they also tend to have... There are some things about the brains of libertarian people that tend to look kind of neuroatypical, and that makes them difficult to study. I'm not saying that in a derogatory way, being quite neuroatypical myself. I don't really consider it a problem. However, it's just something I'm not equipped to speak on because there's just not enough fucking research on them yet. They're not a huge percentage of the population either, like diehard libertarians, so that's another thing that makes it difficult. Most neurotypical folks have a really difficult time seeing the world through a libertarian lens, which for the most part neglects all of those other moral foundations in favor of liberty. Which, you know, if you were paying attention to all that stuff I was describing while I described the other 5 moral foundations, that kind of sounds like a weird, sort of robotic way to look at shit. Yeah, that's about right. That's why there's not a lot of libertarians in the world. A lot of people just don't intuitively jive with that way of thinking. So, yeah. But yeah, those are the moral foundations. Those 5 plus liberty. So care, fairness, loyalty, purity, authority, and sometimes liberty. for your sometimes why there. There's pseudo-libertarians that fall into that approach through the lens of you have no power over me. Yeah, that's kind of the reason it just doesn't make a lot of sense to people is because it's not even like a respect for authority. It's like, I'm the ultimate authority and you won't control me at all. To the neglect of other things that I should maybe care about. So, and it's sort of, it's admittedly kind of childish too, to neglect all of those other kind of important aspects of life just because you don't want some governmental entity controlling you. It's like, it's kind of immature in a way. You know, if I'd met a lot of libertarians that didn't have like massive plot holes in their ways of thinking, so to speak, I would maybe not feel this way about it, but the fact is, I just ain't. So, not to mention, I've never met a single female libertarian in my entire life. Gee, wonder what that's about. Yeah, that's true. There's also quote-unquote special flavors adjacent to libertarians that are particularly morally perplexing. Because they're like, anarcho-capitalists are just social Darwinists that that worldview is so flawed. I don't even know where to start with it, really. I should not get too sidetracked with it, because honestly, I know enough about economics to talk about it in a broad behavioral sense, but I don't know enough about how economic systems work to really intelligently speak on that stuff. What I just did there is called staying in my lane, and you should notice if people don't do that, because generally speaking that means that you shouldn't trust them, because they're talking out of their ass about shit they don't know about. Which, I really try not to do. Perhaps most of all because I don't fucking get away with that looking like I do. That's just the fact, so... I try not to make dumbass mistakes and speak out of turn and talk about shit I don't know a lot about. Keeps me out of trouble. Man, I kind of have to pee, but I want to get Zelda out of here first. Does anybody know where the throne room is? I'm open to being backseated at this point. Shit. Okay. I don't know where the throne room is. She said we had to get to the first floor, so I'm assuming it's on the first floor? Well, okay, so as I was trying to leave, she told me that again. So I'm assuming that means I need to go this way? I really don't know what the game's trying to tell me. I really don't. No, just... Urchag, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm down with pralines, but you're gonna have to explain that other bit. Oh, anarcho-capitalists. I still don't get it. Fuck off! Man, fuck off. I don't want to fuck with you. Leave me alone. Cunts. This is the throne room.
That ornamental shelf should open. Do you have a light? It's pitch dark inside and you can't see without one. If you're ready, let's go.
You can open it from the left. Here we go. Cool. It's a line from Wayne's World, I see. That's the only place I've heard the name Garth, really, outside of Brooks. Is this using my magic power? Oh no, that does. So having the lamp on doesn't, but like making fire with it, that does. Gotcha. Okay. Come here. Little rat. Does the torch go out? I guess? I probably shouldn't bother. Shit! Snakes! So yeah, them's the moral foundations. Something to be said about those, I mentioned this before, but I'll reiterate. There's a difference in how much people value these moral foundations, like how much they value each of them, depending on where they are on the political spectrum. So people who are on the left will be, they'll if you test them on these moral foundations, they'll rate care and fairness very highly, but they are pretty low on the other three moral foundations: loyalty, authority, and pardon, that was well timed, purity. Like I suspect my constant belching might irritate a conservative if they watched my stream. But, you know, who knows? There's not really much I can do about it anyway, so I just try to make it funny. After passing through these sewers, we'll be very close to Sanctuary. Let's be careful. Rat, rat, rat. Rat, rat, rat. Ooh. Hey. So to contrast with that, people on the right will have a more equal value rating of all these moral foundations. So they generally don't have as high of a score for care and fairness, like as high as people on the left do. But they do still value those foundations, they just only value them about as much as the others. So it's a more kind of well-rounded morality that is useful in the sense that those three foundations that the left largely ignores are very important to group cohesion. So, you may have heard the phrase before in your life that Democrats fall in love and Republicans fall in line. There's a reason for that. Essentially, Republicans know, conservatives know, how to fall back behind an authority once people have made a decision, and they know that doing that will increase their cohesion as a group, and it generally does. The left is known for, you know, infighting and, you know, everybody's a little fucking revolutionary, so people are always questioning authority and subverting hierarchies and generally sowing the sort of chaos that keeps groups from becoming strong. And that's the biggest disadvantage of being on the political left that I can see, is that we're kind of shitty at forming hierarchies. It really impedes our ability to coalesce and get shit done and get on the same page. And the reason for that is because we don't value loyalty, authority, and purity as much as people on the right do. So yeah, that's worth knowing. Something else that I think is interesting is when you ask people on the left to, like, take a particular survey testing these moral foundations and, like, things related to them, like a conservative would. So, like, you're asking a person on the left to take a test like they think a conservative would answer those questions, and you have you have a person on the right do the same thing, so you have them answer a survey like they think a person on the left would do it. Conservatives understand us on the left way better than people on the left understand conservatives. That's been demonstrated like several times. So, and I think it's because they know that we overvalue, in their eyes, care and fairness, while we totally ignore these other moral foundations. And it's something that they, like, you know, conservatives culturally have been rolling their eyes at and noticing forever. And it's you know, the reason a lot of the time that they can beat us in many ways, because they're just better at doing that. Sanctuary is just beyond that door. Pull the switch over there. So is that making sense? It's making sense as I say it, but... Yeah, that's true. So, like, the further you get right or left, the more this relationship looks like that. So, like, the farthest right will have, like, the most equal valuation of all of those moral foundations, whereas the farthest left will have the most valuation of care and fairness, and it's like it's a smooth change from right to left, going from that, like, 2-factor morality to that 5-factor morality on the right. Here we go. Oh, no, Fuck your snakes. Princess Zelda, you're safe. Is this your doing, lady?
Yes, it was Lady who helped me escape from the dungeon. When I was captive, the wizard said,
"Once I have finished with you, the final one, the seal of the wise men will open."
Lady, you must not let the land of Hyrule fall into the wizard's clutches. If he releases the seal of the seven wise men, evil power will overwhelm this land. Before that happens, before it's too late, destroy the wizard before he destroys all of Hyrule. You can do it. You can... I sense that a mighty evil force guides the wizard's actions and augments his magical power. The only weapon potent enough to defeat the wizard is the legendary Master Sword. It is said that the village elder is a descendant of one of the 7 wise men. Maybe he can tell you more. I will mark his house on your map, but watch your every move. I am certain that the castle soldiers will be looking for you now.
Oh shit, that was the guy talking. I'm sorry, I don't have a... I will hide Princess Zelda here. Do not worry. Seek the elder. Do you understand? Yeah, but I read it in the wrong voice. Hey! Good shit. Good shit. How are we sure that extreme right-leaning won't result in bias towards hierarchy instead of a more distributed morality? I mean, that's probably true. Like, for example, this research that I was just talking about, where they've demonstrated, like, across cultures that the more conservative someone is, the more they have stock in all 5 of those moral foundations, whereas the more left-leaning someone is, the more stock they put in just those first 2, the care and fairness ones. To my knowledge, they didn't have, like, huge samples of, like, actual fascists and actual communists, so I have to imagine that it would maybe look different for people who, like, don't even fall in the realm of, like, democratic thinking, but that is what was being tested, so I can't really speak on that. I don't know, like, there's been research on people who have authoritarian leanings, but again, not like actual, like, open white nationalists or something like that. I've not looked into that. I would think actually in the last couple years that people would have started looking into that. It'd be an interesting Google search. I might have to do that. It seems a little early for me to be taking a break, but also I have to pee. So I might just have to do that anyway. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. When I get back, I'll talk a little bit more about human groupishness and a little bit about the differences between different cultures and how we think about morality and other stuff generally, because it's an interesting and good way to wrap up this shit, I think. Yeah, okay. Going to play music. Oh, I need to talk about Rage Against the Machine when I get back too. I have things to say. As a fan, with love, about their anger. Anyway, alright. I will return in a few minutes. Go stretch your ass. Hydrate your ass. Do something with your ass. Alright, I'll be back. Howdy. I've returned. Now, I had been thinking that it wasn't time to take a break yet, but it was actually, like, exactly time for me to do that, so. Yay. I feel better having peed. I had to do that pretty bad. Like, I kind of had to do it when I started the stream, and then it just got worse. Like, I should have attempted to pee before starting to stream. Women have to pee more than men. This is something that a lot of people don't seem to realize. Like, I see chicks stream for, like, 4 hours without taking a break. And, like, I don't know how they're doing it, man. Like, respect, but for real, if I go more than about 2 hours, no dice. Like, yeah, and, like, if I get fucking, like, dehydrated or don't pee enough or whatever, like, basically, like, I blink and I get a UTI. Like, it sucks. I get them so easily. So, I just have to, I drink a lot of water, I drink a lot of tea, like, herbal tea, and yeah, try to keep things flowing. Also, hi, Pete's. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. We were just talking about moral psychology. It's probably some shit you've heard me yammer about before. We were talking about this moral foundations theory, which is like a sort of a moral landscape theory that breaks down morality into different components like care, fairness, loyalty, purity, authority, and liberty. And we were talking about that bullshit. I wanted to say check about that test. So, like, I'm fixing to run an experiment where I'm giving people this moral foundations questionnaire to see where they, like, rate all of these moral foundations. And so I've looked at the survey, like, recently. It's very well designed. They did a very good job with it. Jon Haidt and Jesse Graham, the folks who are predominantly responsible for developing this test, they study moral emotions. So they were very, very cognizant of not asking these questions in a way that would evoke emotional responses that might screw with how people respond, like, in a way that wouldn't, like, they made it ideally able to elicit truth, I suppose is the way of putting it. I could link it to you if you want. It's pretty short. And then, like I said, I'm fixing to use it here. Yeah. So we talked about that. You caught the part about loyalty being the highest moral value among conservatives. Well, it's not that loyalty is the highest, it's that loyalty is about as high as everything else. Liberty is, the big thing for libertarians, and usually care and fairness both are highest for people on the left. I've got a pretty weird MFT profile at this point. That's the moral foundations theory. MFT. It's kind of wordy, so I tend to abbreviate it when I'm talking about this with people. That's alright. It's fucking, honestly, I'm surprised that you remembered that much without me having shown a chart, so. The only reason I know this shit so well is because it's a, like, it's honestly a bit of research I've been thinking about for years. So, it's just kind of burned into my brain. But, yeah. So, man, see, the third part of the righteous mind focuses on, like, the hive switch, which is a thing I made a video about that you should totally go watch if you haven't seen it. It'll explain that a lot better than I'm gonna do here. And just human groupishness generally and how that drives a lot of our behavior, but I think that might be suited to another stream or wrapped up with this social dominance stream I'm planning on doing over the next couple weeks at some point. So, I might just focus on what I was talking about before with the differences between, like, different cultures and how they view morality and how that feeds into their moral thinking and behavior. Because that sounds like fun. Because to me, that's the fascinating thing about the MFT research, is that it's cross-cultural. They found the same result along the left and right political spectrum across cultures. They found the same pattern. So they really did hit on something that's actually like a human universal, you know, something that can explain this stuff and enable us to, you know, grab it and measure it. Because, like, it's hard to do. Psychology does not get enough credit for how remarkably fucking difficult it is. You know? Like, just, we can't just throw math at something and solve it. It's a lot more complicated than that. So, anyway, let's get started here with Gaim again. Man, that Modest Mouse song just puts me in a good mood. The song is Prozac. There's a few songs that are Prozac. That is one of them. Zelda music is Prozac. Facts. True facts. It's Prozac for me anyway. And I suppose most anyone who likes Zelda. It's like, I've never talked to someone who loved Zelda who didn't cite the music as one of the main reasons that they fucking like Zelda. It's definitely a big deal for me. I like pretty much everything about it. But if I had to pick a top thing, I suppose it would be the music. It wouldn't be the same thing without the music. It's very, very important. Well, because I guess, actually, the biggest overarching reason that overarching? Shit, how come I suddenly don't know how to say that word? Let's just say overall. The biggest overall reason I really like Zelda is because of how well they're able to, like, convey, like, grand, sweeping emotions, non-verbally, for the most part. So, the music, and, later on, like, the characters' expressions, and their, like, vocal grunts, and all of that, shit. The noises that you hear throughout gameplay, like that shit, you know, this shit. No, I did. Oh fuck! I restarted my shit. Hold up. that shit. Like, those sounds are amazing. I love them so much. Like, how they can just, like, that sounds like you just figured something out. How did they manage to do that in, like, however many notes? How did they, like, you know? That's crazy that Zelda has, like, nailed the sound for You Just Found a Secret, or, you know, You Just Achieved Victory. Like, like, Zelda does that shit better than any series, I think. And I love that. Like, I love that they capture specific emotions in just, like, sound bites. That's too fucking cool. Oh, fuck! Was that? Oh, that was a bomb. That was a bomb. That was a bomb. I understand now. I understand now. Yeah, it's a stressful time. It's a stressful time. That's okay, so Alex, you're not wrong about that. Like, it took me a second. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, because Modest Mouse, generally speaking, writes a lot of, like, depressing, sometimes, like, grotesque, certainly confusing, and, yeah, kind of lost sort of sounding music. So a lot of the time, you're not listening to Modest Mouse and being cheered up. However, that particular song was written during a very dark time. In what's his name? Isaac Brock. I am pretty sure that's that dude's, the lead singer's name. I'm pretty sure. We're gonna go with that. Anyway, wrote that during a particularly sad time when he was trying to, like, you know, keep his chin up and shit. And yeah, Float On is a classic, wonderful song, and the song that a lot of people know the band for. They've got a lot of other shit, but that is their big radio hit, and yeah, not it's stylistically pretty indicative of the band, but lyrically no. They do a lot of, like, depressing, kind of out there shit. I saw some Ocarina of Time video about, like Master of Subtext. It had something like that. It was a good video. It summarized a lot of shit that I had noticed in playing it, even when I was little. Yeah, the story that is not told in that game is heart-wrenching. And it's very brilliant. This motherfucker told me I look like I might have an interesting destiny. That's a hell of an opening line. May I tell your fortune? Okay, that's why. Sure. Hook me up, Plasma. Let's do this. You look like you have an interesting destiny. That's the weirdest pickup line. Like, Hocus Pocus, you will find the elder Shahasrara. Now I'll take 20 rupees. Gee, thanks. I think they said they marked it on the map. Oh, it's right there. That's not far. Another thing that I love about Zelda is that, it is, like, those emotions that it's capturing, it does that across cultures. Like, fucking people all over the world love Zelda. And what's more remarkable to me is that it's not just people all over the Western world. It's like Japan and America both fucking love Zelda. That's great to me, that we can have, like, this story that is so easily understood by people across cultures. It's so effective, and it accomplishes that by, like, telling its story through music and sounds and facial expressions and, like, you know, because it doesn't rely on verbal storytelling so much, it can get a lot done in a way that everybody can understand, because you don't have, like, a language barrier. Everybody understands the language of emotions. So if you can get at that in a way that does not necessitate knowing a specific language, then you've done something very special. And Zelda is very special. Shit. It was, like, right there. Yeah, I fucking walked right past it. Yeah, that'd be worth a rewatch. I would rewatch that with you, actually. That sounds like a good time. I would love to just do, like, a big nerdy deep dive on Ocarina of Time next time I see you. You look kind of old. Oh, I'm sorry. Who? Oh, it's you, lady. What can I do for you, young man? The elder? No, no one's seen him since the wizard began collecting victims. What? Master Sword? Well, I don't remember the details exactly, but long ago a prosperous people known as the Hylia? It's been years, I still don't know. I grew up saying Hylia, but then I heard a lot of people say Hylia, and I'm like, but it's Hyrule. Why wouldn't you say Hylia? That just makes sense to me. Anyway, inhabited this land. Legends tell of many treasures that the Hylia hid throughout the land. The Master Sword, a mighty blade forged against those with evil hearts, is one of them. People say that now it is sleeping deep within the forest. Do you understand the legend? Yes. Anyway, look for the elder. There must be someone in the village who knows where he is. You take care now, lady. Now, this is my idea of an excellent Saturday night. Like, honestly. Do something like spend 4 hours making a really complicated sauce. In-depth video game analysis. That's a good time. They say Hylia in Breath of the Wild. Well, there you go. That's canon. God, I can't wait to play that game. It's waiting for me. 100 glorious hours. Probably more. Whenever I get to it. I'm just trying to pretend it doesn't exist for the time being, because I don't have time. I'm thinking maybe over the summer, I will finally have both the time and resources to get a Switch and be able to play that game. Holy shit, I'm looking forward to it so much. I'm glad everybody's at least stopped talking about it so I can just like go back to fully pretending it didn't exist. When it first came out and like fucking every streamer I watched was doing nothing but playing it, I was just like fucking like hiding in a cave and not looking at the internet and just pretending that hadn't just happened. I think this might seriously be the longest I've ever waited to play like a major 3D console Zelda release. Now that I'm thinking about it. It's shameful. The hot new shit experience. Yeah. It was painful. It was painful. But, you know, I'd have done the same thing. Had I had the means and the time, I would have done it. Just immediately played so much of it. I haven't gotten a Zelda on release since Wind Waker, actually. I pre-ordered that shit. I was like 12, so I didn't know it was a scam. But I did. I pre-ordered it. Although I think that enabled me to get that that Master Quest disc. So I'm glad I did that. I did Master Quest once. I have little desire to do that again. I might do it again one day because I've just like kind of completely forgotten about it, to be honest. So it would be kind of like a whole new challenging experience all over again. It had a lot of previous games. I thought it just had Ocarina of Time and that Master Quest thing. I can't really remember it. Yeah, that was definitely worth the pre-order, now that I'm thinking about it. Sorry, I'm dicking around. Yo, lady, this house is used to- fuck. This house used to be a hideout for a gang of thieves. What was their leader's name? Oh yeah, his name was Blind, and he hated bright light a lot. If he was blind, why did he care about bright light? Yo, lady! Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Oh, I can't open any of them because I'm on the wrong side of them. Oh, it's horrible. Oh, shit. Hey. Cool. I don't want to figure that out right now. I want to look around. The pre-order disc had Zelda's 1, 2, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask? There was a separate disc that had Ocarina of Time and Master's Quest. Wait, so the Master Quest and Ocarina of Time shit were on one disc, and then there was a separate disc that had 1, 2, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask? I don't remember this other one. I only remember getting a disc with Ocarina of Time and Master Quest on it. I might have had a shitty GameStop near me, who knows? This is Kakariko Village music. I don't know if that's where I am, but I can't hear this music and not think of that. Yeah, GameStop's not really known for its fucking quality. What the fuck was I? Oh, I was talking about how Zelda is special because it manages to grab hearts in both Eastern and Western cultures. Which, like, you might not think that's really anything special. Did you just run away from me? I think you did. But when you think about some of the sort of foundational differences between Eastern and Western cultures, you start to realize that they are actually pretty different. To the point where it would affect maybe like how you perceive stories and, you know, different emotions and outcomes of stories. So, like, I didn't really write a lot of this down. This is just shit that I've thought about and read about over the last few years, so we're just gonna wing this. I guess the biggest difference between Eastern and Western thinking generally is that Western folks tend to think about stuff in a more linear way, like with a beginning and a middle and an end, whereas Eastern cultures and like Eastern religions will tend to think about things in a more cyclic way. So like reincarnation, like stuff starts and ends in like a circular way, rather than there being a definitive beginning and a definitive end. It's just all, you know, it all feeds back into each other, kind of thing. Which I generally find to be a more useful way of thinking. It's a little bit less dramatic, and it kind of enables you to kind of readily think about I don't know, it's more comforting, I guess. The idea that there's new beginnings and nothing ever ends without starting something new. And yeah, I just prefer that way of thinking. What did you clip? Did I do anything worth clipping? Really?
My son really liked to play the flute, but he went to look for the golden power and has not returned. I wonder where he is and what he's doing now.
That was my snore. It sounded like a snarling dog. It's not good.
Whoa, I saw her. A very nice young lady at the Waterfall of Wishing in in the fucking hills where the river begins.
Lady, you should meet her at least once. I'm sure you'll like her. As a UI UX computers person, that is a challenge I greatly appreciate. What, trying to communicate shit to people across cultures? Or like the cultural differences between Eastern and Western folks generally? I imagine that's what you meant. Yeah, it's hard. I don't need any of that. Something else that's kind of a big difference. Again, I'm talking in huge generalities here. There are definitely, you know, cultures in the East that have value systems that don't correspond to this. But you know, very generally speaking, you know, when I talk about like Eastern, you are running away from me. Eastern religions, I'm referring to like, you know, Buddhism, I guess Taoism. You know, I guess to an extent Shintoism, but I'm not sure. That's a religion, right? That's a religion. Anyway, I'm talking about that kind of stuff, whereas in the West, you've got, like, Christianity, which is, here's another big difference. So we tend to think in more, like, good versus evil terms in the West. Like, you got your good guys and your bad guys, you know, your gods and your devils, and, you know, we're a lot more about that in the West. It's all kind of a lot more melodramatic, and in a sense, not that Eastern traditions and you know, there's not, like, dramatic elements there, too. It's just, it's a different flavor of drama, I suppose. Shinto is oddly Western, almost Norse. Yeah, I was thinking that was a bad thing to lump in with, like, Buddhism and Taoism. That's really not that similar, so let's just forget I said that. I'm not an expert on this. This is just, like I said, it's something I've had to think about because I'm interested in, like, human universals, but I'm not like a cultural anthropologist. I haven't, like, specifically studied the differences between Eastern and Western religions or cultures. Oh, lady, the rumors say you kidnapped the princess, but I still trust you. I didn't kidnap her. I saved her. Don't get it twisted. Chicken house, chicken coop. What was I? Oh, I was saying that, something about Western cultures, that contrasts us with Eastern cultures generally is that we're more individualistic, especially in the United States. We're so individualistic that, like, other cultures make fun of us for it. Just this kind of notion that, you know, it's important to stand out and, you know, stand up for what you believe in, you know, make a scene and be what you want to be and be yourself and all of that, to be, like, special, basically. That's more of an ideal in the West than it is in the East, where it's actually considered, generally speaking, more ideal to blend in, which, you know, just straight up confuses a lot of Americans, like, you know, because we're so used to being told to, like, you gotta stand out, you gotta whatever. Gotta make an impression. Hey, here's lady, the wanted man. What? Huh? Excuse me? No, I didn't do nothing. What are you talking about? Excuse me? No. Hey, nah. No. I'm not trying to do all that. I gotta run. Shit, I didn't realize I was a wanted link. Shit. I'll just look around here for a little bit. So, what the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, Western cultures are a little more individualistic, whereas, Eastern cultures are a little more what's called collectivistic. So, they're, generally speaking, more interested in, serving the needs of the group, or their families, or, you know, the company that they're working for, things like that. They are, to some extent, as I mentioned, kind of anxious about the notion of standing out. They want to be, you know, a good cog in the machine versus, you know, something that's going to disrupt that machine and cause trouble. So that affects a lot of, like, it feeds into a lot of small cultural differences between Eastern and Western cultures generally. That's good. That's good. If you said, I do like the juxtaposition of The squeaky wheel gets the grease against the nail that stands out is hammered down. Yeah. No, that's good. I don't know if that's... I haven't heard that, so I don't know if that's what it was, but that's good. Yeah, Alex, evil tends to be a lot more personified in Western imagery. We have a lot of, like, you know, devil and hellfire and, you know, like, that kind of shit. That's all very Western. All those concepts. Yo, did any of y'all see the video Knowing Better put out a few days ago about Dante's Divine Comedy? It's so entertaining. I'm guessing either like he or I don't know, does he game? I don't know if he games. But that new Devil May Cry game just came out and it was very informative with the regard to that lore. Or at least I don't know how actually, like, loyal any of this shit is to the story itself, but it was good to, like, you know, if you didn't know the origin of some of those names and relationships and that whole story, it's really entertaining. And yeah, the costumes! I swear to God, fucking ContraPoints is affecting everyone in the best way. Have I seen the two posters in the background of his set? They're both framed Fallout posters. I had not noticed that, so I guess, yeah, I suppose it was not a coincidence that he made that video. It's very good. It's very good. I liked it because people don't realize that a lot of the, like, cultural conceptions we have of, like, what the devil looks like and what hell looks like and what heaven looks like, these come from this story, this Dante's Divine Comedy story that was, like, one of the first, like, works of fiction to be, like, broadly published in a language that the common folks could speak and read rather than Latin. It was published in Italian, right? And it enabled people to actually fucking, like, read it like normal-ass people, instead of you having to be, like, a fucking scholar that knows Latin to read anything. And, yeah, it got around, and it fed into a lot of what we visually represent as these, you know, divine concepts. And it's really neat. I don't think I can get that right now. I'm gonna give up on that. So one thing that's interesting about that individualistic versus collectivistic way of thinking that generally separates Eastern and Western cultures is the way that it changes romantic relationships. So in Eastern cultures, especially ones that have, like, traditions like arranged marriage and stuff like that, it's really uncommon for people to marry solely for love. Like, that's kind of a foreign fucking concept in a lot of cultures, marrying for love, which is, like, the thing you do in the West, certainly in America. That's, like, the ideal is like, romantic Hollywood love. This is not entirely commonplace in a lot of places, specifically Eastern cultures, especially if they have, like I said, things like arranged marriage or otherwise not entirely random or romantically driven marriage. So they'll, you know, they'll marry for reasons like, you know, stabilizing families, or, you know, if you were talking about some Game of Thrones shit, people get married to, like, solidify alliances between houses and shit. That's based in history. That is not a bullshit thing. And it was, you know, it was and still is considered an honorable way to conduct your life and your relationships, because, you know, this again is probably sounds crazy to a lot of folks in the West, but you can be happy and fulfilled in a relationship with a family in which you are not just, like, totally, you know, romantic soulmates with your spouse, which, I guess, depending on the person, that might sound really horrible. It sounds awful to me, but I also I don't put a lot of stock in, like, you know, I've never wanted kids. I've never wanted, like, a comfortable home life, and like I've never really valued like financial stability all that much beyond the most basic sense. So yeah, I'm definitely a more Western thinker when it comes to romantic relationships, but the point of me bringing up that Game of Thrones shit is to like emphasize that this was not always how we thought about relationships. In fact, I remember in that Game of Thrones game, there was a point at which you have to kind of flirt with and woo this one girl that was like considering maybe getting with you but was not entirely sure about it. And if you weren't able to realize that she really valued like having a family and upholding and honoring her house and like forming, you know, an alliance and all of that shit, like if you didn't gather that she was a more like practical relationship thinker rather than a romantic one, you fuck up that interaction. And like I didn't fuck it up, so I don't really know what happens, but I watched other people play it and fuck it up because they didn't know what she wanted, and it was really funny. And it's like, if you had been talking to her up till that point, you would have gathered that she was, you know, definitely interested in marrying someone for more practical reasons rather than romance. It was not a completely, like, aromantic, you know, kind of interaction, but it's just, you had to know what she valued, like, what she thought was more important. And yeah, so it's not inherent to Eastern thinking that people think like that. I think it's just, I don't know. It might be kind of tied up in, to some extent, the notion that, you know, women were kind of property for a while there, and you were free to marry them off to do things like form alliances and get dowries and stuff like that. So I think it's maybe something that's come along with feminism, which admittedly we are quite a bit further along with in the West, culturally. So yeah, that's getting kind of rambly, but I'm gonna go look at chat. So what women want is a defensive pact and a strong army, something like that. Well, like, a lot of women value what you could be broadly termed as stability, which, you know, if you're smart, that's a really good thing to value in a relationship, and I can't really fault people for it. You know, especially in an increasingly uncertain world in economic terms and otherwise, I get it, for sure. I'm just a sappy romantic cunt, so I can't. That's essentially what it comes down to. I'd rather be broke and unstable and with the person I truly love than, you know, sitting on stability and not really fully, like, emotionally and spiritually connected with my partner. That doesn't sound like a life I want to live. So, you know, but I am an American. In every good and bad sense of the word. I'm an American, and I'm okay with that. That's a good way of putting that, Urchak. Marrying for love is like maybe 200 years old max in the West, and I'm inclined to say it's something that came along with feminism. Because for the most part, this, you know, getting shoehorned into arranged marriages thing was something that benefited men more than it benefited women. Because especially a long time ago, it was the men picking their wives rather than the inverse, so, you know. It's at least as old as cinema. That's kind of an interesting way of, because there's definitely a correlation there too. Like I kind of blame Hollywood specifically for giving us a lot of our notions of what romantic love is supposed to look like, and I'm not sure all of it is positive. Certainly. Like, yeah. That dude, I think I've plugged his shit on my stream before, Pop Culture Detective. He's got a choice few videos about media representations of romance that will seriously make your skin crawl if you've not thought about it too hard before. The idea that love of a woman could be sacred is from Persian and Iraqi traditions. I see. You said before that, funnily enough, the whole courtly love idea that eventually evolved into romance, into the romance genre, is not Western but Middle Eastern, so you're saying it came originally from that. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Like, that's, yeah. I'm, like, thinking about some stuff I read in high school, like, myths and otherwise stories from that region that would have suggested some romance. or whatever you could call romance, I guess, that long ago. Yeah, and admittedly, there's a lot of, like, you know, there's a lot of pros and cons to, like, both ways of doing relationships, because when you marry purely for love to the neglect of things like, you know, money and stability and otherwise, you might have money troubles and you might have stability troubles, and those things are going to stress out your relationship, I promise. So, like, there are advantages to just avoiding that by virtue of choosing a partner. Oh no. When's the last time I saved? Oh god. Shit. I guess here. I don't know where my house is. Which cave? I didn't see a cave, I'm sorry. I'll go back down there. Wherever I was. Damn it. Oh, I'm sorry! Yeah. Like, going back to the Game of Thrones example, it was kind of, I guess the difference, it was like a class difference. Like, people of a lower class were more likely to marry for love than people of a higher class. And it would sometimes cause, like, massive problems. I don't think I have a particular place where I need to go. I guess north. I don't know where I died. Oh god, I'm so far. So far. So, like, there's at least one example in the show where this bites people in the ass. So, like, and I'm not sure this is exactly how it went down in the books, so I'm sorry if I think it was a different character in the books, but the plot was otherwise similarly altered. So, like, Rob decided that he wanted to marry this, like, lady he met, instead of the daughter of, one of, like, Walder Frey's daughters, who, like, I guess his mom promised that he would marry one of his daughters. It was, I don't quite remember, it's been a little while since I've seen the show at this point. And yeah, without providing any Game of Thrones spoilers, let's just say that decision for him to do that, rather than marry this woman he had agreed to marry as part of a political deal, he really fucked over a lot of people in a big way. It's putting it lightly. So it was, you know, pretty important for people to follow through with this shit once they made agreements. I think I died to the you think I died to the east, rather. Oh yeah, I'll go back later. I just started. I'm trying to just get into it a little bit. Shit. No! Man. I need more hearts though. That's what I need. Where's the sanctuary? Is that closer to where? I don't know. Shit. So, yeah, depending on how much power you had in the world and how much was hinging on you marrying for strategy rather than romance, you could really fuck some people over. This shit is, I think, barely in the show, but it's something I'm aware of from the book. Rhaegar and Lyanna fucking started a war with their Romeo and Juliet bullshit, didn't they? Like, that could pretty much single-handedly be placed on that. It's like the impetus for that whole war. And like, how many people died so that you could be with the boy you like? Like, at that point it becomes kind of like morally questionable. It's like, yeah, be true to your heart, but also, like, people are dead because you decided to do that. Like, is that okay at that point? You know? I hear fairy. I don't see fairy. That's true. I would also like to blame this on Robert. Robert's functional inability to process a woman who wouldn't want to fuck him. Yeah. If she wanted someone else, she must have been kidnapped. That's true. He was in, like, complete fucking, like, ego-driven denial about that, like, until the moment he died. So there's something to be said for that. Like, that he couldn't even fathom that she would run away with someone else. Yeah, and like, who knows who would have been good for fucking Robert either. Like, when your ego is that big, you're like fucking delusional. You don't know what you fucking need. Like, I will soothe your wounds and comfort your weariness. Close your eyes and relax. Yay! Yeah, he just knew that he wanted the prom queen, Lyanna. Yeah, it would not seem he understood her very well. Or what he would have been getting into with a relationship with her, because it doesn't sound like she would have been nearly as compliant as Cersei. She'd have probably gotten her ass killed, to be honest. I have not read the books, to be clear. This is like secondhand knowledge from some Googling and shit Nick has told me, because he's read the books. Didn't I just go down there? I'm gonna not do that. Nope. Nope. That looks like an arrow. Oh, I can't swim though. I think I talked about this fucking, what, 6 or 7 months ago when I talked about egos. Like, a lot of people, if they don't have that shit in check, they don't know what they need in a relationship. And if they're up their own ass enough, they'll go around falling in love with mirrors instead of compliments. Which is not how to relationship. If someone is too similar to you, you can't be in a relationship with them. Especially if you're, like, particularly volatile people. I could see maybe two relatively boring people who are very similar being together, but if you're, like, fucking crazy, you can't be with another person who's crazy in the same way that you're crazy. Because, like, you fucking... You need someone who's gonna zig when you zag. And if you both zig at the same time, you're gonna zig-a-zig, and you'll fuck it all up. I don't know if this is quite the crowd for a Spice Girls reference, but you know what? I went for it. And I'm gonna see how that lands. I need to get... I don't have a bottle. Thank you, LJ Doodle. Welcome to the stream. I'm very glad that you're also a real 90s kid. Fuck you! And then you'll wait, and then you'll move Zig because you know what you do. I think you just made a reference that went over my head. I need the beeping. I need the beeping to cease. I need the beeping to cease. The beeping must cease. I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. No, please! Oh, you have to take off every Zig. I thought you might have been going fucking all your base with it. But I wasn't sure. The beeping is letting you know that you have no chance to survive. Make your time, goddamn you. Yeah, Urchak, I'm looking up a little bit. That's my understanding, is that Liana is way more like Arya than anyone else. And can you imagine? Can you imagine Miss Arya in an arranged marriage? Oh my god. Dear fucking Jesus. No way. No way. Like I said, probably would have gotten her ass killed. Probably would have gotten her ass actually killed. Like... I don't know where I'm going, man. I'm kinda wanting to know what the fuck I need to be doing. I already went this way. There wasn't nothing over here for me. I'm gonna go talk to more people in the village, because that was apparently what I needed to do to find this elder. So I'm gonna do that. So well, I went to the X on my map, and they told me that I had to go talk to other people, if I remember correctly. That's the right idea? Okay, I will do that. Excuse me. Yeah, I need to do a whole fucking stream about social dominance at some point soon. It's something I've been meaning to do for a while. I've just been putting it off for a number of reasons. It's gonna be pretty stressful and uncomfortable for reasons entirely different from the fucking sex ed stream. So, I'm trying to remember who fucking called the police on me when I came down here. I'm trying to not run across that bitch again. Hey. Hi, lady. Elder, are you talking about the grandpa? Okay, but don't tell any bad people about this. He's hiding in the palace past the castle. Damn! Did the first person I talked to hook me up? Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Cool shit! Cool shit, buddy. Cool shit. Thanks, Ming. I think I can get there through there. Unless that's like a dead end, and if it is, then I guess I can go around, but I'll try doing that first. Cool. It wouldn't leave just yet? Okay, I'll keep talking to people. Yeah, it's like, it's just inherently fucking uncomfortable to talk about some of this shit. Because people appropriately have some, like, really deep-seated intuitive feelings about it, and it feels weird to, like, question where those came from, or question if they're legitimate, or the best thing for society, or, you know, all these other kind of weird questions, but they're important. And it's important for us to get more comfortable in talking about them, because it's, something that's kind of at the core of a lot of our disagreements on the left and right, and if we're trying to decrease polarization, this is a conversation we need to be able to have with level heads. So, in an effort to contribute to such an effort on my tiny public platform, I will do that. At least as shooting practice. No! Cut! Pete's, I'm gonna have to come back here. Am I gonna be wanted all game? Yeah, tell me how it works. Give me the lowdown. The woman who paces back and forth will call the guards on you. Okay. Or the women, plural, who pace back and forth will call the guards on me. Okay. Because I thought that wasn't the same lady as last time. I thought that was a different lady. Oh, it's just one guard? If I kill him, do more come, or do I just have to kill that one guy? Because I could do that. That's not so bad. It's more thematic than dangerous. Gotcha. You look familiar. Hi, lady. Sorry about my yard. It's a little overgrown. Thanks for visiting. I'm glad to have company to talk to. I'll tell you an interesting story. There's a lake swimming with Zoras at the source of the river, but it's hard to find. The treasure of Zora can turn people into fish. Heh heh heh. I'd love to see that. Me too, guy. Yeah, like, Alex. The thing about the social dominance stuff is, like I said, because everybody has, like, an intuitive understanding of it, it's weird to question that for people. Like, I've had, like, just randos on the internet try to tell me, like, what authority is, what social dominance is, whatever is. And the thing is, they're so sure because they know intuitively that that's what that means to them. They don't realize that there's been, like, there's, like, a whole history of research on this, and we do actually know some stuff about it. It's not just a matter of what you think an alpha male is. It's a little more complicated than that. So, you're specifically talking about killing that one guard? Wait, what? I think you made another joke that went over my head. I'm not smart enough for you tonight, man. Alpha male, no thank you. I'll wait for the mail to be out of early access. Oh god. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh my god. Don't I have there we go. That deserved that. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Oh, that is such a good red pill dunk. I love it. Thank you. Oh, you're saying I should fucking possess the fucking guard. Dominion rod that motherfucker. Yeah, you did not realize that you just dragged Red Pill to within an inch of its life. Good job. I am always happy to hear new dunks. Exciting new dunks on tired old shit. Looking for secrets. I'm trying to avoid people who want me arrested. It's generally a theme of my life, I suppose. And, yeah, at this point in my life especially, I sure don't have any, like, strong opinions one way or the other about how, you know, hierarchy structures should work. I can just tell you a lot about how they do form and what we tend to do naturally in sorting them out. Which is useful and should maybe, you know, factor into how people form strong political opinions on what the social hierarchy should look like. So, you know, I'm trying to inform so that people can make educated decisions about politics. I'm not so much preaching about specific political issues over here. I'm trying to decipher this shit in like a sort of hands-off, analytical, baseline human stuff kind of way so that people can understand it better, understand their political opponents better, and hopefully arrive at solutions to, you know, some big scary problems that we have on the horizon. But, you know, I openly admit that I'm on the left because I like to be transparent about my biases, but a lot of what I preach about up here is not related to, like, you should feel this way because of, you know, lefty political motivations. I'm just trying to fucking elucidate this shit so that people can understand it better, and like I said, we can hopefully come to some political compromises and generally hate each other less. That would be good. I did see Mario in that picture on the wall. Did y'all see him? I just took it for granted, because they seem to put Mario Easter eggs in, like, every Zelda that I've played, but yeah, he there. It is a very specific looking mustache. It's funny that you can, like, recognize him in, like, fucking, like, 15 squished pixels, but, like, it was clear as day to me, too. Yeah, I wanna suck some of the fucking salience out of talking about power dynamics. I would like to get other people to the point that I'm at in talking about it, to where I can talk about it in this really, like, detached way that enables me to think really clearly about it and what might be best for everybody. Or at least how it's likely to work out, whether or not it's best for everybody, so that we can be aware of what we tend to do.
You, sir, have you been going through life without one of my hold anything bottles? Well, step right up and make your life complete. I've got one on sale for the low price of 100 rupees.
Yeah, that's worth it.
Goodbye. Thanks a lot. Now hold it above your head for the whole world to see, okay? It's good for business.
Ah, that's so funny. Because you do that in Zelda, you hold the item above, and then he told you to do. It's cute! It's cute! I love Zelda! Fuck! That's so funny. Hold it above your head, real high. It's good for business. I should try pulling on the pain thing? I will go back. I will go back. Hell yeah! Thank ya. Appreciate ya. Make a little bit of my money back there. Fantastic. Okay, so I got a bottle. I have to imagine that's what you were hinting at when you were saying there's good stuff here. So I'm going to assume I got the cool thing. I'll look around more when I come back here, but I am very, very pleased to have gotten a bottle. That's a great thing to have. It's one of the things. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back. I wanna go find this elder. Maybe get a potion. No. No. I don't remember where the witch was. I think she was... Oh, hello.
If my lost partner returns, we can temper your sword, but for now I can't do anything for you.
I see. There's lots more stuff here that you can get later when I have more things. Okay, that sounds about par for the course for Zelda. Yeah, I had the thought today that, like, my main concern with political discourse is that it's becoming, like, more, like, Twitter-like. Like, just in terms of, like, just reactive, which I should specify this, because it's kind of important. Reactive and reactionary do not mean the same thing. A lot of people intuit that they do, but they don't. Reactionary refers specifically to usually far-right folks who are responding, usually in an aggressive, sometimes violent way, to changes to the status quo. So, like, generally speaking, the anti-SJW movement could be regarded as reactionary, but usually when people say reactionary, they're talking about, like, the far right. Like, you know, fucking white nationalists and, like, truly, you know, people who are very upset by any, you know, quote-unquote progressive cultural changes. They don't like any of that shit at all. I'm just saying that so that nobody gets in trouble for using the word reactionary when they meant reactive. So, I'm worried that political discourse is getting more reactive, less thoughtful, and generally more Twitter-like. And as I've mentioned before, many times, Twitter is the lowest form of communication, and it is essentially ape grunting. So, it's not good. I want people to not be behaving that way. Because it sucks for political discourse. Sorry, it's getting a little late, but it's yeah. It's hard to even say what like Twitter, for example, is useful for at this point. It's like, it's so seldom that it's useful for things that I don't know if it should even really exist, but the thing is, there's nothing to keep it from existing or something like it. So, you know, I think we just have to learn to deal with it. Which, like, I kind of question why I'm even on Twitter sometimes, but at the same time, I don't think I would understand how and why political discourse is changing and, generally speaking, getting worse, unless I were on Twitter. So, I think for the time being, I'll keep a toe in it, but it's, yeah, you definitely have to put on a whole different mindset and swag when you go onto Twitter. Because people just, they don't talk the same as they do in real life. Which, you know, generally speaking, my goals on Twitter are different than they are in real life. Certainly. Ultimately, I am trying to, like, break through to someone and either make a point or, like, have a conversation, but, that's not always possible. So, you know, sometimes you have to try something else. No! I think it would be better to start from here, actually. We'll see. I might have fucked up. That's fine. Yeah, like, if you watch me talk to people on Twitter, it sure does not sound like how I talk to y'all here. That's for a number of reasons. Generally, it's because a lot of the people that I'm arguing with on Twitter, and that I'm not arguing with them in good faith, because they did not want to do that, so I'm just kind of trying to make them look bad. Because that's what they're doing to me, so... Oh damn, I could've caught that motherfucker, god damn it. So yeah, you really can't gauge, you know, your efficacy on Twitter if you're a person like me who's trying to, like, generally soften people's views and change minds in terms of what they actually say. Because you're not gonna learn anything that way, because people never concede defeat on Twitter. It is the battlefield, and people do not concede defeat. No, I know when I've gotten through to someone, when they, like, change their Twitter habits, or they, like, make some, like, announcement, or, like, do something, like, just little shit, like, change a profile picture, or, like, It's little shit. I've seen a whole plethora of things in response to a particular interaction I've had with a person that I know is effective. They'll never tell you, that's the thing, is you have to just observe. Like, see what happens. And it can be really entertaining. Because, like, well, a lot of what I do on Twitter is what I refer to as, like, bubble popping. So, like, oh, god damn it, no. I'll go into particular, like, echo chambery kind of threads where everybody's just kind of jerking off and agreeing with each other, and I'll say something, like, to the contrary. And I'll usually get yelled at. But also, you know, I provide, like, a reasonable sort of, like, break from what everybody else is saying. And, so one of the metrics that I use for how successful I've been on Twitter, if I'm doing that, like, if I'm going into a thread just to, like, bubble pop, is how many people clicked on my profile to see if I was crazy. Because that's what they're doing. They're trying to look at my profile to see if they can put me in some box so they can dismiss my opinion. That's what they're doing. And my feed on Twitter, generally speaking, is not like a partisan shit show. I don't go on a lot of, like, leftist diatribes or say a lot of inflammatory shit that would lead people to believe I'm, like, ideologically possessed. So I guess I can go that way. It's fine. Might be better. So that's good. I consider that a good thing. Even if no one likes or retweets that tweet, if a bunch of people clicked on my profile as a result of seeing it, I consider that impactful. No! I'm just gonna focus on this real quick. Like, I was talking to fucking, oh no, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. Please have a heart. Please, one of you, please. Oh, God, I hate it. I can't focus. I don't want money! Please! God damn it. For the love of fuck. I swear to God, I'll finish this thought as soon as I get a heart. Wait, can I not actually go this way? This sounds fairy-ish, but no such luck. Please. Where's the fucking witch? Where's the fucking witch? Oh, you need another item to catch fairies in this game, I see. Understood. I need to go east. Okay, what the fuck was I saying? Oh, I was fucking arguing with, this YouTuber, Bunty King on the Twitter machine the other day. And this is someone who I actually, corresponded with by email a couple of years ago when I was still trying to figure out, what the fuck I could and should do inside of this, like, political YouTube space, if anything. At that point, I had made a couple of videos, but I wasn't really sure that that's what I wanted to be doing. I was trying to see if I could get people to, like, work with me on something. I was considering making, like a Khan Academy style website where people could learn about all the stuff that people were arguing about, but ultimately I could not find the support for that, nor the resources, so... Like, alright, I'll start from the bottom here. Make some YouTube videos and see how that goes. Anyway, so I jumped down his throat on Twitter because he called H Bomber Guy, quote, a rat in response to this tweet he made, which admittedly was a very bad tweet, and I do not seek to defend it. H-Bomb's got a lot of bad tweets, man. I don't know what fucking crawls up his ass every once in a while, but holy shit. He really just needs to screen some of this shit by somebody, because he sounds like a fucking moron sometimes, and it's so inconsistent with, like, the rest of what he says that it's, like, downright confusing, honestly. It's like, who am I actually supporting here? Are you this person that seems reasonable and level-headed in your videos, or are you this absolute psychopath that, you know, tweets about moderation being a figment of someone's imagination and a virtue signal and blah blah blah? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? So anyway, tweet was bad. Don't want to defend the tweet. However, H-Bomber guy is not a rat. And to be fair, Bunty calls everybody a rat, he calls himself a rat, yada yada. But the thing is, I've heard him call Richard Spencer a rat. If Richard Spencer, actual Nazi, actual white supremacist, is a rat, and so is H-Bomber guy, who is like a really good YouTuber that sometimes has bad tweets, like, that's a very dumb fucking kind of binary thinking you got there. And it's just senseless pot stirring, and I was like, you know, what's your fucking deal, man? Is everybody either fucking cool or a rat to you? Because, like, he just basically tends to sort people along those lines. And, yeah, he fucking got up in my face about it, he started insulting me, I don't even remember what he called me, it was nothing like, they were like dumb, childish insults. He was just kind of poking fun at me, and it's like, I know what you're doing, but also stop it. And, anyway, and yeah, I called him out. His channel, for generally speaking, like, he would kind of, front like he was just this guy playing video games or whatever, but he would also have, like, a ton of fucking just kind of generally pretty reactionary political hot takes that he would just fucking rattle off to the probably really young viewers watching his stream because they just think he's a cool dude, and it's like, you are not informed enough to be having these opinions, man, not putting them on your platform like this and shit. If you're just gonna be a cool guy hanging out playing video games, then fucking be that, Keep that shit to yourself. I've seen people do that. Don't tell me it's impossible. Like, you can keep that shit to yourself. And, yeah, we just kind of went back and forth. And, I eventually, like, called him out for, like, he was trying to play like he was, like, joking and, like, giggling at me, but I knew he was mad. Like, he's one of those angry laughers, you know the type? Yeah, so I called him out for being angry, and of course he tried to laugh it off, and I posted just, like, some really ridiculous fucking picture at him. It's like... And I think it completely caught him off guard, because he liked the picture. It was like a parakeet perched on a dildo stuck to a wall or something like that. This was after I said, like, yeah, you're mad. You can front, but I know you're mad. And, like, yeah, and after that, like, I checked on his Twitter today. He ain't had a political tweet, one, that wasn't in the direction of, hey, everybody, let's chill out, since I bit his head off. He also shaved his head. I'm sure that's correlation, not causation there. I sassed him bald, yep. And a dildo burb pic. His fucking booty blasted the hair right off his head. So yeah, I'm always happy to see, behavioral changes like that after I interact with somebody and clearly got through to them. Because, like, at that point, he knew that I wasn't an ideologue, which I'm not. I was actually legitimately trying to get him to calm down and stop talking shit about people who are actually not horrible. He also responded to those tweets later with a note about how H-Bomb did a good job with that charity stream that he ran recently, yada yada, kind of going back on it a little bit. And I've noticed he's also been more enthusiastic about calling himself a rat lately. Which is also interesting. So anyway, yeah, I don't measure my efficacy on Twitter in terms of likes and retweets. I measure it in Things like that. Yeah, you did come in at a weird time. So yeah, I'm an ethologist. I can't help but pay attention to little shit like that. And that's all I wanted. Like, I just wanted him to, be a good, like, figure in the gaming culture war for everybody chilling the fuck out. Reducing outrage, which I know from having interacted with him by email that is what he's about at his core, and he just kind of has a temper. And I don't know what H-Bomb did to piss him off, but it was enough for him to fire off that dumbass tweet that ended up getting like fucking 700 likes about how H-Bomb is a rat. Like, fuck off, dude. Like, I know it's a bad tweet, but like, what are you doing here? And I think I made him ask himself that. So that's all I'm trying to do, man. That's all I'm trying to do. Also, hi, Goose. I didn't actually say hi. I just acknowledged that you were correct about having come in at a weird time. You look kind of eldery.
I am indeed. Sahasrara, the village elder and a descendant of the 7 wise men. Oh really, lady, I am surprised. A young man like you is searching for the sword of evil's bane. Not just anyone can use that weapon. Legends say only the hero who has the 3 pendants can wield the sword. Do you want to find it?
I do.
Good. As a test, you can retrieve the pendant of courage from the East Palace.
Oh shit, that was a question. My bad. Yeah, man, I can do that.
If you bring it here, I will tell you more of the legend and give you a magical artifact.
Excuse me.
Now, go forward to the palace.
Alright. Goose? This is the person who came in. I don't want to say their whole name. It's large North American bird, you smartass. I'm putting KOTOR aside until next week. I just wanted to get started with this because I've been looking forward to it. That, and I have some modifications that I still need to make to KOTOR to make it run a little bit better. I don't think I'm going to resolve that issue with the fucking, with the movies not playing. You know, those, like, pre-rendered cutscene things. I don't think I'm gonna fix that. But I'd like to have some kind of system for playing those things on cue as they happen. Which is probably gonna be a bigger pain in the ass than I want it to be, but, I'll try it for you guys. I will do my best, as I always do. Regardless of whether or not it is understood until months later. May need to head to bed soonish. Yeah, it's getting kind of late. I wanted to find the start of this dungeon here, at least. And then I'll probably call it a day. I'm really close. Where's my map? Oh, is that it? I'm assuming that's it. Because it's right there. The green cherry. Wasn't that what cured, imp status in Final Fantasy VI? Am I remembering that correctly? I'm collecting arrows, but I don't have a bow yet, do I? Can I just throw these bitches? How long have I been streaming? I've been streaming for a little over 3 hours. I wanted to get started earlier, and time got away from me. I started cooking, like, something that really shouldn't have taken me any time at all, but, like, this fucking shit tier rice that I got. I shouldn't say I got it. It came in a care package from a relative. My dear and lovely Aunt Pat, who will send packages just filled with like truly random bullshit, like puzzles and food and knickknacks and strange clothing, and it is a complete fucking joy every time I get one of her care packages. And yeah, it happened to have this like bag of like shit tier long grain rice from like fucking Walmart or something, and I didn't have any other rice available, so I was like, okay, let's go for it. And yeah, it said 15 minutes and it ended up taking like at least 30, and it was awful. Like, it was really not good. Admittedly, I think at least part of that was me not cooking the rice very well. I stirred it too much. You're not really supposed to fuck with rice while it's cooking. That's like a mistake. You'll end up like making like shitty risotto. Like, it'll just all stick together and become mushy. This looks like a dungeon entrance. This looks very dungeony. Can I save? How does one save? Oh, here we go. I don't know. Do I want to do this tonight? Is this long? I'm not really that tired, and I don't really... Do I have anything to do tomorrow? Not scheduled. Like, I can wake up whenever. I don't know. Do any of y'all know how long this dungeon is? It's pretty linear, but it's still pretty long. Okay. I guess I did kind of run out of shit to talk about since I decided to move the group dynamic stuff to another stream. I'm glad we talked about the moral foundations theory anyway, and those like broad differences between Eastern and Western cultures. That was cool. Oh. Yeah, I definitely tend to season the liquid I cook rice in. I don't always have chicken or beef stock on hand, though. I don't know. I'll find something else to do with my energy here. I think I'm... Oh god, the first KOTOR stream was such a shit show. Oh god, that's gonna have to be like a chop and slice full render job as far as editing that and posting that goes. So maybe I'll spend the next hour doing that. That sounds like a good use of my time. Feeling pretty good about stuff. Generally speaking. It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be fine. And next week we will stream more KOTOR. So I appreciate y'all coming by. And have a lovely night.